If there's one thing that I get the most compliments on, it's my lighting. The other day I was scrolling down Twitter and someone was talking about YouTubers who have sets behind them, YouTubers who have built or placed stuff just for the sole purpose of having their videos look better. And in my head, I thought, this is not a set. What's behind me is just my apartment. I live here. If I wasn't a YouTuber, it would probably still look the same. But that's not completely true. I think the lines started blurring between what I actually enjoy, of course, LED strips everywhere. I kind of have an addiction, but also I think I definitely added some stuff just because they would look good on camera. I chose certain colors because they look better on camera. Now, of course, it's not like I planned everything meticulously and then just ordered everything and in one day my whole quote-unquote set was built. I've been doing this for the past 15 years. By doing this, I mean experimenting with lighting. So my goal today is to show you my current lighting setup because we all know this is gonna change. You know, this is the type of video that just not gonna stand the test of time. It's gonna evolve because I'm gonna be changing everything very, very soon. Hey guys, Gal Level here, and today I want to talk to you about my lighting setup, the full thing, every single thing that I use in my videos and also in my live streams over at twitch.tv/GalLevel. I want to tell you about the ideas behind every single light source that I have, give you some tips and tricks or even some warnings if I encountered some problems with those lights, the reason behind specific lights, but I also want to tell you about things that I already want to change at the moment. The goal here is to show you how you can have a setup that gives you the look and feel that you're looking for, but also is versatile enough for you to change stuff around. But right before all that, a brief message from our sponsor. This portion of the video is sponsored by Owned Pro. Owned Pro is an online service and software created for streamers and designed to jumpstart your streaming career, giving you access to overlays, alerts, and other tools for live streamers. Owned Pro is currently available in over 9 languages, and that includes overlays and alerts, meaning that non-English speaker streamers can easily get started with their customized experience. Owned Pro will also give you access to a Twitch chatbot that will moderate your chat and help you run giveaways. They also help you take a good look at your statistics, give you free panels, and even provide copyright-free music. Owned Pro is currently compatible with YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Owned Pro is constantly coming up with new features, but I'll let you check it out at own.gg/GalLevelPro. That is own3d.gg/GalLevelPro. Okay, so we're here, and this is pretty much my basic lighting setup. Right now you can see it is not optimal because it is daylight outside, so we have those white streaks. I could close the blinds, but I'm too lazy to do that today for some reason. So I'm mostly recording during the day and then I'm live streaming at night, so those will change slightly. Those curtains are opaque, so they block the light really well. I think the most important thing that I should start with telling you is how painful it used to be for me to manually turn on and off all the light sources that I used to have. I used to have like a 3 softbox system at some point, and they both had 2 light switches in the back. So every time I would go live, I would have to plug in those fairy lights and then press all the buttons, which was 6 buttons in total, and then turn back on my normal lights for my living room. Now, of course, if you're just starting out as a live streamer or a YouTuber, this doesn't sound like too much. It doesn't sound like crazy. It's part of your job. You're making money, blah blah blah, but after a while it becomes annoying and it hinders your workflow. As a content creator, you want to have the least amount of obstacles in front of you in order to start creating. So now most of my lights are RGB and they're also smart, meaning that I can change the colors, but also I can control them by a simple vocal command. Having everything controlled either by vocal commands or with my phone or with different apps really helps me. It's not all the lights, once again, for example, that sign is not voice controlled. I could make it voice controlled really, but most of them. So let me turn off a couple of them right now. So this is the studio with no lights on right now. And if I were to turn on my normal lights, what I call, the ceiling lights, turn on top lights. We get that yellow color. So if I hadn't invested in lighting at all, this is what my setup would look like. And this isn't bad at all. If you're just starting out, just put the content out there. As long as the content or the things that you're talking about are interesting, you should be fine. Then I have what it's called routines that will trigger multiple actions. For example, turn those lights blue and then turn some of my diffuse lights and then turn on the shelves behind me. And that is when I say, so I'm going live. And then I can turn on my face lights, takes a while. And then I can turn on my main RGB light right there. And then of course, the brand new addition to all of this is the neon sign. Okay, now let's break it down bit by bit. The most important thing that you want to light is usually yourself. You want yourself to be lit with the best light, actually. And in that case, I want something that is pretty bright, that can get really bright, just in case I want to open up my windows, for example, and I will have to counteract the sun when it comes to brightness. But also I want something with a high color accuracy, a high CRI, a light that won't have like a little hint of purple or a little hint of green, so that my camera's white balance doesn't struggle and doesn't give me like a really bad skin tone. So for my main face light, I am using an Elgato ring light. My camera is in the middle of it, so I'm using it properly. And the cool thing here is that not only it gives me a pretty general lighting, kind of soft on my face, but on top of that, it creates this round highlight in my eye. That makes me more captivating to look at when I'm talking. Again, we talked about power. This can get really, really bright. And I am sitting at a certain distance. You can see that if I get my hand close, how super overexposed it gets. And if I get close, I also get overexposed. So that's a big advantage, because what if I want to use the ring light at this distance? Then I'm good. Then I'm well lit right now. I'm not overexposed. So this gives me versatility. I can move around and know that my light will be able to light me properly, basically, to expose me properly. Now, the second light that I'm using for my face is to avoid having just the ring light. I love the ring light, but sometimes it leaves certain spot a little dark, and depending on the time, it might look a little too harsh on my skin. So I like to balance it with another light, and it's already on. I'm gonna turn it off. There you go. This is the Elgato key light. Right now it's off, and you can see that even if I have the ring light being bright, I'm gonna be kind of the brightest, like the main subject, the main well-lit subject here, but it's not enough for me. I still feel a lot of darkness around my shoulder and around my hair. So if I turn this on, you see the difference. It gives me more of a highlight somewhere else. So now this shoulder is bright and this side of my face is a little brighter too. You can see the shadow on my hair, and I like how that looks. Now the third light that I use is used to highlight parts of my face, my shoulder, my hair, but also part of, well, a big part of the apartment. Let me turn it on. And that is a 60-watt RGB projector or floodlight. And the cool thing right now is that it is pretty soft because I'm bouncing it off a wall. I could point it towards me a little more and I would have way harsher highlights, which isn't a bad look. But right now I'm keeping it soft. It gives you that good contrast, and oh my God, like my hair here, you can see all the shadow when I do this. Beautiful. Now, of course, we're currently ignoring the fairy light and also this pixel art thing, but in my opinion, this is all you would need. You don't even need the actual Elgato key light. If you only have a ring light plus that projector, look at that. Your lighting is already looking good. Of course, here I have the Elgato ring light, but if you find a ring light that gets really, really bright, that doesn't flicker on camera, and that also has a high CRI, it will do the trick. Just make sure that your camera is in the middle of that ring light. If you put your camera outside of the ring light, cool, you're getting a softer light, but you're essentially using the ring light as a light panel and you're basically wasting it because you're paying more for the shape of the light when you're not using it for its purpose. Anyways, let me turn on the key light. So right now, ring light in front, Elgato key light top right, that is actually bouncing off the shelf here so that it doesn't create any harsh highlights on my skin. And then we have this RGB projector that you can place pretty much anywhere you want. Right now it's bouncing off a wall, so it can give me that very soft look like that, okay? Another thing that I can do with the RGB floodlight is that I can turn it around and point it directly at the room. I can point it like that. Now maybe I lose a little bit, like you can still see this is so bright that it still shines on my face. So I lose the highlight of color that was on my face, but now my room is purple, which is in itself some sort of contrast with me who's lit with white light. So this is also a very good look. Let me turn off the key light. So as you can see, if you have a decent ring light in a projector, you're good. You're just good to go. Anyways, let's go back to everything. Now, the thing to note is that every other light from now on is decorative light. It's basically background lights that are meant to embellish. So before turning on the shelves, let's address the little pixel art display right here. So this one, I like it, but sometimes it really grabs the attention a little too much. It can be helpful if I'm, rambling for a long time. It keeps people watching the video, but it can be distracting if I'm trying to say something important in a very short time. So I have a whole product review on it. It's pretty cool. I think it's about 50 bucks. So it's relatively cheap. Plus there's a whole community of people creating those pixel art. You can customize it. It's Bluetooth, so you can make it say whatever you want. You can create your own animations. You can play Tetris on it if you want to. It's kind of amazing. It's a very, very amazing little product. All right, since they're on, let's talk about those fairy lights or wedding lights. Those are curtain lights, basically. Those are very, very cheap LED curtain lights. And just like anything that is cheap and also LED, I had to test them with multiple frame rates, well, not frame rates, multiple shutter speeds to see when they start flickering and stuff like that if they don't look good on camera. Right now they seem to be behaving a little bit. The cool thing with this particular one is that it has multiple effects that you can choose. As you can see, it will flicker fast, slow, it will change, and it also has a randomizer. So I always have it on random. So it'll start doing an effect and it will switch to another effect, which is pretty cool. Now it's just dancing. That was about 15 bucks on Amazon or something like that. And I actually used it because I used to have this camera. I used to have a Canon T2Y with a prime lens. So I would have a lot of bokeh. Basically each dot would really be huge on camera and it looked amazing. But right now I don't use them as often because sometimes I get the flicker, and also it is also I get less bokeh, so it's more distracting. All right, now let's talk about the shelves. Now the shelves are pretty interesting because they are the cheapest LED lights that you can find. The cheapest LED, well, not the cheapest, but very, very cheap LED strip. They just have like a lot of LEDs. In 1 meter, there's a bunch of LEDs. I think it's 300 LEDs per 5 meter or per 1 meter. I don't remember, but they're very close to each other, allowing me to give kind of that neon straight line look right there. They're also RGB. Originally, they were controlled by this, but then I bought like 5-7 years later, I bought adapters for them that were like 10 bucks or 17 bucks. Those adapters were Wi-Fi adapters, meaning that I could control them with an app, but also with some voice commands with my Amazon Echo. So they no longer work with this, but I can say, set shelves to blue, and they'll change color. There's also a bunch of effects, including effects where it reacts to my voice. I'm gonna turn the big one off. Test. This is the future. Love it. This is Commander Gal Level. I am here to inform you that we are now in the future. Isn't that cool? If you want to learn more about those lights, I have a full video where I go in depth into which lights you can get and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of effects, as you can see. But again, with very cheap LED light strips, sometimes you get some flicker, you get more flicker depending on the specific color because it's different frequencies, different pulses. Purple strobe flash. Oh God. So LED strip that is not waterproof, so it's very bendable. I designed and 3D printed little brackets that I have on the wall with thumbtacks, and then I just ran it across. Boom, that's how I have the zigzag. I have so many people in my stream asking me, yo, what kind of light is that? Can I get this light? Where can I get this? You can't. I mean, you can, but you have to set the pattern yourself. It is the exact same LED strip that is behind my shelf. This is normal shelf thingy. It's just semi-transparent. And I just glued it behind it, and that's it. Now let's talk about the latest addition to everything, the neon light, which is something that I created myself. I have a full video, not really a tutorial, but I have a full video where I show you how I made it. And again, just the same thing as the other LEDs, except this one is still controlled by remote. I could probably add a Wi-Fi module to it at some point, but I'm not necessarily interested in that for now. For now, I can handle the remote. If someday I'm annoyed with it, I'll just add the Wi-Fi module. And that's the cool thing about it. Now, again, cheap flicker. I had to perform a lot of tests. Right now, there's actually a little bit of flicker happening because of the big RGB projector. So I told you that I was going to talk to you about things that I would want to upgrade. I think right now the cheapest, because I have another Elgato key light, the cheapest thing that I can do to improve my lighting would be to replace my trusty and my lovely RGB floodlight with the other Elgato key light and to buy something called a gel in order to produce the same purple, but this time, since it would be a key light, I would be able to have it be very, very bright and also not flicker and also have a very high color accuracy. Or, you know, I could invest in an actual RGB high CRI made for cameras projector or just panel. Those also exist. Oh, one thing that I almost forgot is that I also have a umbrella diffuser with 4 CFL light bulbs behind it. I don't necessarily use it, but it's still connected to my Amazon Echo, so every time I ask her to turn on my lights, she turns those on. They don't really add that much. As you can see on my door over there, it's a little brighter than the rest. That's what's hitting it. I can turn it off for you to see the difference, just like that. And there you go. So this is, you know, the real look where we get this uniform purple. And right now the bright blue looks kind of like teal, and we have the purple room. Okay, of course I'm wearing my purple shirt, but this is my color scheme. This is very much part of my branding. So it really puts this whole color scheme and style into people's head, making it more memorable, hopefully. So I don't really use those anymore because they take a lot of space. I also have a huge softbox behind my TV. But the cool thing is that if I'm ever recording something that is not live streaming or it's not a YouTube video, I can use them. I can stand in front of them and I'll have very soft diffuse light, which is my preferred look most of the time. Also, you can see a ring light here. This is what I use. I only use this ring light for my 3D printer, or if I'm taking a quick selfie for Instagram, or I'm recording an Instagram story, or maybe a TikTok. This is a $10 ring light that came with the Follow. It's a little robot that basically follows you around while holding your phone, so you can film yourself with no cameraman. Anyways, let's talk about money now. How much money are you looking at? Let me turn off the stream lights because since I don't really use them. There you go. Now we can talk about money. All right. The Elgato ring light is about $200 right now. The Elgato key light, I'm not sure, is also about $200. So we have $400 when it comes to the face lights, the main white, bright, high CRI, color accuracy, no flicker lights. If you were to replicate this, I wouldn't actually advise you getting like the ring light plus the key light. If you have the ring light, you're good. I would actually advise you go for a cheaper panel light if it's just to create that highlight. You don't need a $200 light to create that little highlight on your shoulder. That's ridiculous. But the ring light is actually definitely worth it. Okay, so that's $400. Now, this big RGB floodlight that I love so much that I keep talking about, how much was it? It was, believe it or not, it cost me 19 euros. So about $25. It's a 60 watt and it's very bright. If you're using a webcam for your YouTube videos or your live streams, I don't necessarily recommend going with 60 watts. It's overkill. It most likely will flood the room and flood everything, and everything will have that color. So you want to go more towards 30 watts, even 15 watts. If you're really using, you know, a lower quality ring light, for example, for it to balance. So that's $420. Let's add the Divoom Pixel, which is the pixel art display over there. And that is about $50. Let me make sure that I'm not lying. Actually, correction, this one is about $100. And there is a smaller one that's about $50. Again, totally unnecessary, just add a pretty cool look. So if you have the budget, go for it. Looks really well on camera and doesn't seem to flicker at all. Okay, let's talk about the curtain fairy wedding lights. Those cost me about 15 euros, so something around $20. Very cheap, But again, doesn't necessarily work with every shutter speed. So if you get them, there's a chance that, you know, they flicker like crazy and you can't use the footage. Let's add the zigzag. This is 2 meters, I think. No, this is 3 meters. But you can buy a pack for 5 meters and that's about 12. Well, it was 12 euros for me. So you can find one at $15, I would say. So 525. It's the exact same one that I use here. So 550. The neon sign pretty much didn't cost me anything because I did it with stuff that I already had around. But if you were to make it from scratch, it would probably cost you between I think $20, actually $20 to $30. If you don't have any foam board, you can use cardboard actually. No, never mind. Just $20, okay? And $20 is basically the LED, and let's say that you don't have a hot glue gun. Remember, I have a full video on how to do this. But I also added the Wi-Fi module to all of my lights, making them about $40 more. So we're at 610. My top lights were about $30 for 2 of them. Those are RGB smart light bulbs. They don't really contribute, but if they were yellow, like if right now they're blue, if they were yellow, I wouldn't look that good. So let's factor them in. $30. Since I don't really use the CFL light bulbs nor the softbox, I'm not going to include them at all. But just to let you know, in total, this is around from $600 to $700, but also it can be accomplished way cheaper. Actually, if you replace the Elgato ring light and the key light with some cheaper lights, you already knocked down most of it. And I believe that's it. I believe we covered everything that I actually use for my YouTube videos and my Twitch streams, twitch.tv/GalLevel. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. If you're looking for some dope overlays to make your Twitch channel look good, go to gumroad.com/GalLevel. I have a bunch of free overlays there. And if you have any ideas for lighting or questions, things that you would like to know, let me know. You can also join my Discord if you have more questions about live streaming. We try to be a community that, you know, helps each other over there, not with like lurking in your channel. But if you have any questions about live streaming, there's a ton of people there that can help you out. But yeah, links to all of the products that I mentioned or equivalents will be in the description. So those will be affiliate links. But if you want to know basically what I use or the closest thing that I use, that will be on Amazon.com. Those will be in the description. Please do keep in mind that just because I use something doesn't mean that it's going to be great for you. This is just what I use. It doesn't mean that I recommend it for a specific situation. I don't know you. I don't know your specific situation, so I couldn't possibly recommend anything. But in the meantime, I will tell you, follow me on social media, especially Twitch. I stream on Twitch. Go watch me on Twitch, okay? And then YouTube will tell you what they think is the best video you should watch next, and at the bottom of it you will see my most recent video, so go check him out. Keep on learning about being a content creator and live streaming and gaming and all of that good stuff. But I will see you guys next time. Go out there, make me proud. GalLevel out.